好，大家好，哈，非常高兴这场大家来到这个 HTML5 的整个 session 的第一场。好，那这一场的讲者呢，我们邀请到了这个 Michael Smith 先生。好，那他目前在这个 W3C 工作，哈，那他就是负责关于这个所有跟browsing 的一些 technology 相关的事务。那目前他就是个人是住在日本，哈，所以他本来有打算要跟各位用日文做简报，不过我想在场可能大家还是听英文可能会比较习惯，所以我请他就是还是用英文做简报。那我好像忘了自我介绍哈，我叫 Eric， 我是 Eric 上官，好，那目前是台北 GTalk 的 organizer。好，那大家平常如果对 Google Technology 有兴趣的话，欢迎就是上网 search GTUG。好 ，OK， 那今天这个 Michael 呢，给我们介绍的这个主题是关于这个 HTML5 针对这个各位 programmers 所准备的一个议题。不管你过去有没有写过这个 JavaScript， 相信他今天的演講內容一定會給各位很多啟發。那現在讓我們以熱烈的掌聲歡迎 Michael Smith。
ありがとうございます。皆さんこんにちは。おーすごい。じゃあ皆さん日本語わかるだからずっと日本語で今日。Hey, a couple things I want to get out of the way first before I start my presentation. Is Jean Lopez in the room? Or if Jean is looking for one of these 13-inch things like this, so if anybody has one that you can loan to him, Jean Lopez from WebKit and Qt, find him later and give him this or let him borrow yours. The other thing I wanted to do is say thanks very much to Bob Chow. I don't know if Bob's around either, but Bob is the one that arranged for me to be here with some help from my good friend Kenny Liu. Kenny works with me at the Keio University office of W3C in Japan, and Kenny set up the arrangement for me to come here. So thanks to both of them, and then thanks to Eric, wherever Eric went. I'm really glad to be here. It's the first time I've been in Taiwan. This is my second day in Taiwan, so I love it here. And I hope I can come back next year. There we go. And this is my daughter right here, by the way, in front. Her name is Satori. She's 12 years old. This is the first time she's been in Taiwan also. And she doesn't speak English so well, but if you speak Japanese, she speaks Japanese pera pera, so come talk to her. Okay, so just as far as information about myself, I'm in charge of the HTML activity at W3C. And that includes the HTML working group. It includes some other stuff, but mostly it's about the HTML working group. And mostly right now it's about HTML5. I work at Keio University, which is a private university in Japan. The campus that's outside of Tokyo, it's about an hour outside of Tokyo where I work. Kenny works there too. If you want to email me afterwards, my address is just mike@w3.org. Very easy to remember. If you want to check out my homepage that I don't update very often at all, you can look at that page there. And if you want to follow me on Twitter or tweet about this, my name's Sideshow Barker on Twitter. So how many people here love JavaScript? If you love JavaScript, say yay! Woohoo! How many people hate JavaScript? Boo! Say boo! Boo! Well, I used to hate JavaScript. I hate JavaScript less now. And I didn't start loving JavaScript because it's the greatest language in the world. I started getting interested in JavaScript because it's the programming language for the web. When we talk about the web, some people think of web programming as the server-side application programming that happens. That's not really the web. You know, all that is a server-side application that responds to HTTP requests and sends information down to a browser, to a user agent. The real programming language of the web is JavaScript. And what's happened with HTML5 in the last, depending on how you count it, 7 years, 5 years, 3 years, is that JavaScript has gotten a lot of new features or a lot of new APIs. JavaScript itself has gotten some new features, but what we're doing in HTML5 is adding APIs, basically. We're adding some new markup in HTML5, but the biggest, most important part of what we're doing with HTML5 is we're adding programming APIs. And a lot of what we're doing in HTML5, although we like to say it's new and exciting and different, it's not that new, exciting, and different. One thing that we've done in HTML5 that everybody makes a big deal about is we're adding a video element. Well, you can already watch video in a web browser. You can use Flash, you can use other means to watch videos. So we're not creating a new way of viewing content on the web. You can already see videos. What we're doing, though, that's really important and different is that we're providing an open standard for publishing video on the web. This is one of the things that we're doing. And we're providing an API behind it that lets you programmatically manipulate the video. And we're doing all of this in a way that integrates well with the web platform. The other means that you have for creating video and scripting video on the web today rely on plugins. And the big difference with a plugin is if you have a plugin running in a browser, a video running in a plugin, you don't have any real programmatic access to controlling that video in the same way you do the rest of the DOM that you have in the browser. Does everybody know what the DOM is in browsers? Okay, a few people. Well, it's really quite simple. What you're dealing with when you're programming in the web is you're basically dealing with a document. Even if what you're doing is programming an application, it's modeled as a document in the browser, and the API that is used to model it is called the DOM. And so everything that you do is manipulating this DOM, which is a tree structure, and that's most of what JavaScript's about. It's really quite boring, actually. If you go in and start using the DOM API, it's not a terrifically exciting API. But what I want to do today is show you some things that are interesting and new that maybe can help to get you excited about programming using JavaScript and programming to make web applications in browsers. The thing I want to do today, I have only 30 minutes, I think, today, right? Yeah, so I don't have a whole lot of time. So what I want to do is point you to somewhere where you can go to look for information later. If I can get my screen working again, come on. Come on. There we go, beautiful. So this site is called HTML5 Rocks. And you can't see it, but that's one word, HTML5rocks.com. And this is actually created by some people at Google. Any Google folks here from Google Taiwan? Don't see any familiar faces, but some guys from Google put this together, and they're the ones that are maintaining it. There's some different parts of this. One part that I don't have time to show a lot with today is a section that's called Code Playground. And if you go in here and look at this, if your DNS is working and your browser's not saying resolving hosts down there at the bottom. Let me try a different, let's try. Which one? Free? It's that computer right there? Okay. We'll wait while that beach ball turns. This web page is not available, no surprise there. What this site does is it demonstrates some HTML5 features that you can use now. Which one you said again? 3? That'll work better. Let's depend on that if we can do that. All right. Is that working, brother? Mm-hmm. Let's try another wireless thing here. I don't know if that thing's going to work. Oh, wait, that's yours. Bob Way's iPhone 6? No? Let's try 3. So I told you I didn't tell you there's going to be some comedy today. This is the comedy part of the presentation, so you get a laugh at my expense for not being properly prepared. There we go. Holy Christ, this happens every time. Help me out here, guys.
想要让这个系统继续的
All right, hang on.
下去。那我接着跟大家介绍一下，在今年年初之后到现在，那 Sahana 台湾有一些新的发展。那最特别的就是有一个 Python 版本的系统的改写计划正在进行。OK， 那这一个版本 Python 的版本，它是应用了 MVC 的架构，然后在使用者界面上面有去改进。那这个Sahana 最早是 PHP 开发的，大概在4年前，那这个版本已经出现，而且在使用，目前还在特别是南亚地区广泛的被使用。可是有另外一个新的版本是最近1-2年以 Python 程式语言所开发的版本，那都是在 Sahana Software Foundation 底下在经营。那 PHP 的版本现在的专案名称称为 Augusty，Python 的版本叫 Eden。那除了功能大致上面一样以外，目的也一样，他们的授权有点不一样不过都是 open source 的软体。那可是为什么在一个基金会底下，然后同一套用途的系统想要写2套呢 ？OK， 那主要原因是在于 PHP 原本这个版本呢，就是比较早期就开发，所以在设计的架构上面比较没有考虑到一些跟外界系统做整合的一个需求所以特别是像现在的救灾防灾的这些资讯，需要用到大量的GIS 的资讯，或者是也要接一些简讯系统。那这个在旧版的 PHP 上面比较难以满足。那开发人员也觉得需要有一个 framework 去依着这个架构上面去做开发，然后 focus 在使用者实际应用的需要上面不要整个系统的 stake 都自己维护。那对于 Python 的开发人员而言呢，他们希望引进这样的一个新的开发方式，然后让有一些
That was my clever teaching moment to teach you, be properly prepared every time you do a presentation. Don't be like me. Don't be like the bad guy who comes up and doesn't prepare properly for his presentation, okay? That's your lesson for today. Okay, Code Playground. I really don't have time to show this thing now because I got like 15 minutes. But what's really cool about this is like a live demo site. You can't see well. Let me crank up the font here real quick just to show you what some of this stuff is. So what we have is some different APIs here. These are all JavaScript APIs. This web storage one is a way that you can avoid, well, not avoid, but it's an alternative to using cookies. You can store client side, you can store user data per session and persistently on the client side using this mechanism. There's a couple different APIs that are associated with that. This web SQL database mechanism, by the way, it's not part of HTML5, and it's not part of the web platform. The reason for that is that Mozilla is not going to implement it. It's not going to be implemented in Firefox. It's also not going to be implemented in Microsoft Internet Explorer. What's going to be implemented instead is something that's called IndexedDB. IndexedDB is a real indexed database that's stored on the client side. It just does not have a query language. It doesn't have a standard query language associated with it. But it's still, if you know about databases, it's a IndexedDB that you can use that's more sophisticated than just doing name-value pairs. This first one is just name-value pairs. Post message, drag and drop, there's some other simple things here. Geolocation API is a lot of fun to mess around with. And what you can do is, if you click on these and you start going through them, you can make code changes over here, and they get reflected live in the application. So it's a way where you can go in and hack and see